visual artist, one of the first things I was taught in an art class was how to draw from life. This was usually from a still life or live models. But I didn't really look at the bowl of apples in the still life or the figure in front of me, because I thought I already knew what apples and bowls and figures looked like. So my drawings were basically no-dimensional. They were created with lines I was making up.
When I was in my early 20s, I ended up meeting two incredible artists who later became my mentors. Rose and Claire they were my teachers when I was studying in Italy. And they actually took the time to teach me to see. And they taught me that the apples related to the bowl, and that the bowl related to the table, and the table related to the ground line that was the floor, and to the walls of the classroom. They also taught me about horizon line, this imaginary line that was in the distance somewhere outside the classroom. And of course they taught me about the vanishing point. The horizon line, you all know, is where the sky meets the earth. The vanishing point is the dot on that horizon line where all parallel lines converge. So like when you're on a road trip and you're driving in the desert and you notice on the sides of the road the lines that you know are parallel because the road seems to be the same distance, suddenly you're aware of the fact that they're almost touching. That is the vanishing point. Now, those same converging lines and points transfer to your drawing when you're drawing the road. Now, Rose and Claire actually took the time to teach me the principles of drawing, which included all kinds of things like measurement and proportion, and actually explaining to me what it meant when I saw artists closing one eye and holding the pen out like that. They actually told me what that meant. And really what it is relating objects to each other in a space. So I can close my eye and take a vertical, and I can see that the camera in the back of the room hits this man's nose right in the middle. It's on the same vertical. I can do the same thing with horizon. So this woman's eyes in the striped shirt, her eyes line up to the top of his head right there. So doing this, I started thinking about how there were these imaginary lines that actually connected everything. Shortly after art school, I found myself on a 35-foot sailboat as crew with my mom. It was a sail from the Azores Islands off the coast of Portugal to Cherbourg, France. It was a 21-day sail. We saw no land that entire time. This is where I was about to get my second lesson in horizon line. My mom started sailing because after 25 years, my father turned to her and said, "I want a divorce." So she sold the house, she packed up 2 duffel bags, put all of her belongings in storage, and left for the South Pacific to study coral reefs. So while she was wading in the ocean up to her knee level, looking through a glass-bottomed bucket, she realized, and she was counting coral, she realized she was much more interested in the boats that were coming in and out of the harbor, and the activity on the horizon line looked much better. So someone told her that if she went to the local bar, there were always these postings for boats looking for crew. They said things like, looking for man or woman, leaving for Vanuatu Tuesday. So that's how my mom got from Fiji to Vanuatu. She told the captain she was a cook. She figured after 25 years of being a Mormon housewife and mom, she could add that to her resume. When she got to Vanuatu, the sign that she ended up seeing said something like this: looking for lady companion tomorrow. So, at the end of this slightly rude and chicken scratched sign was Dieter, a German opera singer who had a sailboat that was equivalent to a jalopy. He had no electronic navigating devices on the boat. His sails had lots of patches on them, and he built the boat by hand, of steel. So Mom wanted to go south. Dieter was the only boat going south, so she jumped on board. When, by the time my sister and I joined her in the Azores Islands, she had already sailed. She'd started a relationship with Dieter, and they ended up, sorry, I missed the important part. They ended up in a relationship and circumnavigated the globe on this small, rickety sailboat that had no refrigeration, which meant she ate a lot of potatoes and canned meat. Seriously. So when we met up with her, they had already sailed to New Zealand, to Australia, to New Guinea. They'd sailed around the Cape of South Africa and on to Brazil. When my sister and I joined them, we hadn't seen my mom for 2 years. We actually didn't even know where the Azores Islands were, and we had no idea who this dude Dieter was. But we heard sailboat and thought, vacation. So, of course, we get on the boat. There were rules right away. One of the big ones was that we were allowed to have 2 liters of water a day, to brush our teeth, to drink, and to bathe. 21 days, people. The second important thing is that we would be taking turns doing 2-hour watches. And that was going on day and night. Now, a watch is, well, the first thing you do on a watch is you tie into a lifeline. A lifeline is basically, it's just a rope that attaches to your body and it connects you to the boat. So that if you fall overboard, you won't be lost forever. Because it's impossible for a sailboat in the middle of the ocean, unanchored, to turn around and come find you. So doing the watches, it was really, our days and nights were around these watches. And what you did on a watch was you held onto the wheel, and you looked at the compass sometimes, but you primarily were watching the horizon line. And you were watching the horizon line for dots. Dots were either tanker ships that were usually on autopilot or islands. So as long as the dots were going back and forth on the horizon line, we were safe. If they didn't, it meant that either the tanker ship was coming, if it got bigger, it meant the tanker ship was coming toward you or an island or something. So it was pretty important, this watch business. My sisters volunteered for the first watch. We were leaving the Azores Islands, and we knew the rules. She was clipped into her lifeline, and it was the only beautiful day we had on the entire trip. Was this first day, sunny, right? No tanning. We just put patches, anti-nausea patches behind our ears because there was a concern about that, which made us a little bit drowsy. So we're both up on deck, and we promptly fall asleep. And I wake up and I say, Eliza, does that dot look like it's getting bigger on the horizon? She's like, no, it's fine. So if we fall asleep, I wake up and I'm like, Eliza, that dot definitely got bigger and it's an island and we are about to hit it. So we scream for Dieter. He comes barreling up the stairs, screaming at us. And he's saying, Vas, you rammed the island, Vas. You want to kill us, Vas. You do not see. What I remember the most is you do not see. Grabs the wheel, and it was going to be a long trip. But in retrospect, I realized that as a visual arts student, I maybe wasn't so good at seeing, especially when I decided to wear my roommate's prescription glasses to school one day. They were really thick prescription. I was wearing them because they were cool and kind of retro, and they had this funny little wire over the top. They were completely, I couldn't see anything out of them clearly. They were really scratched, but I could make out shapes and colors and light and stuff. So I knew I'd be okay, safe in the street. I was waiting for the bus, and I hear what sounds like it is definitely Rose and Claire say, Angie, and I know it's them because no one else is allowed to call me Angie, and they say, Angie. I hold completely still. I didn't say anything. And then I hear them say, Angie, what are you doing? I said, I can't believe you recognized me in these glasses. They said, Angie, just because you see differently in those glasses today doesn't mean the rest of us are seen differently today. I truly thought that with these glasses on, I looked different, because when I looked in the mirror with them on, I did look different. So, on the boat, surrounded by 360 degrees of horizon line and vanishing points that kept moving, I was just a dot moving through space. I had a lifeline that was connected to the boat, but the boat was connected to nothing. It was during that time that I realized my teachers were teaching me more than drawing and perspective, that they were actually showing me how the sky and the earth rub up against each other in places far beyond the horizon line, and that the horizon line actually isn't just a line, but it's all around us. It's a way to construct images, to construct illusions of images, but it's also a way to deconstruct and to question space. My teachers clearly taught me about art and life, but they also taught me to teach. They taught me about the responsibility of teaching. They said, it's never about you when you're teaching. It is about your students. So, as I stand here in front of a group of people, unanchored, nervous, I have no choice but to take off my roommate's scratched glasses and see 360 degrees. I want to encourage all of you to find a mentor or teachers. It doesn't have to be art people at all. And if you're lucky, then maybe you'll even find yourself teaching. Thank you.